Hey there. It's Shauna, and I was just on my lunch break and was kind of like feeling a lot of intense feelings today. And I know some of you who are with me on social media have shared with me your experiences this week. And I thought I had a few minutes, and so I thought it would be interesting to just chat for a hot second about the aspect that's happening today, which is Mars opposite Pluto. And this is not it's not a light and fuzzy transit. It is intense and cutting and can be cunning, I think, as well. And I spoke about this in my weekly video. Mars is about action, it's about initiation, it's about movement. Mars is also about anger, aggression, assertiveness, and these qualities of like standing up for something and saying no and saying yes and like doing it very quickly. We had earlier in the week Mercury opposite Pluto, which is about thoughts and communication. And so this week, like the vibe, at least the way that I'm feeling it as it goes on, is where there's a lot of information coming in very quickly. There's a lot of conversations that are happening, and there's like an intensity. This all happened around the time of the full moon as well, so there's a heightened emotionality. And I've been feeling, I don't know about you, but tell me how you've been feeling, but I've been feeling like very like amped up and like angsty almost. And I would relate this to the Mars opposite Pluto this week, like the angstiness of like feeling like fired up and feeling like mad but excited, and like just like I have things that I want to do and I want to say, and I'm feeling like worked up, etc. Kat says, I've been feeling very manic. I think that's a good way to put it as well. And so I want to share this with you because as this week has been going on, I've been really sitting with, okay, why am I feeling this way? What is this really about? Like, what is the deeper layer of what I'm feeling? And I think that for me, this week has been about, in a certain sense, setting boundaries and speaking up and speaking out. It's not something I'm super comfortable with, and it's a muscle that I work on flexing often because it's not my strong suit. And so, Mars, we say that Saturn is about boundaries, but Mars is also to a certain extent about boundaries because it's like, hey, like no or yes, and there's like an action toward something or away from something. There's like moving into or shutting down with Mars, and it's all very instinctive. And so I've just been like feeling, okay, where is it that I need to act? Where is it that I need to pause for a moment before I act? And so I wanted to give you some tips to really work with this because the aspect is exact today, but I think we're also feeling, we'll feel sort of like the effects as the week moves on, and sort of like it diffuses in a certain way. So Mars Pluto, I would say tip number 1 is to acknowledge where you feel frustrated, where you feel agitated, where you feel angry. And this is not bad, it's good. No feelings are good or bad. I think they're just feelings, they're just energy. And so it's like, okay, what intense feeling, and maybe there's a different way that you describe it. Maybe it's not angry, maybe it's like agitated, or maybe there's a sense of unrest. Kat used the word manic. So leave me a comment and let me know how you would describe how you're feeling now. So number 1, that is to sort of like put a name to what you're feeling and to like, okay, that's what I'm feeling. That's what's happening right now. I am going to validate my current experience. Tip number 2 would be to find a find a way to dig a little deeper into that. So explore what's actually going on there. So for me, I've been coming up against a lot of limitations with time this week, and it's been really frustrating for me. And so I've decided, and this is like a repeating pattern the time, and I've been thinking like I want to figure out a way to streamline my time. I want to cut out, Mars is about cutting, I want to cut out activities that are not really working for me, that are not necessary for me. So that's tip number 2, to like reflect on what it is that's actually happening, because the feeling itself, usually there's like, at least I don't know how you feel, but when I experience especially a strong emotion, I'll find that it kind of goes in layers. Like there's the top layer, what I'm aware of, and I can usually assign like an external something to it, but then as I sit with it, there's more and more layers, and it typically goes back to something that that is some type of like default setting that I have versus an external event. I hope that makes sense. And then tip number 3 is, what did I say tip number 3? Tip number 3 is, I think, to find a channel for this, to find a way to vent the intense feelings, whether that's frustrations or just emotions. I know that a lot of you that follow me are heavy into creative work and artwork or journaling or exercise. Those are all great outlets. I think that it depends on what works for you. Of course, Mars is about action, so doing some type of physical activity can be really great. This week, I went for a long walk several times, and it was so good. It felt so nice. Yeah, that is what I wanted to share with you today. Let me know how you're feeling. I always love hearing from you all, and yeah, wishing you a wonderful Thursday, and I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.